Although Dolly Parton has been happily married since near the beginning of her career, her husband is secure enough in their marriage that he's okay with her having a crush every once in a while. Dolly's had many crushes on various men in the entertainment industry over the years, though her husband is a private business owner who prefers to stay out of the spotlight. Her first crush was Johnny Cash, and she subsequently had crushes on several of her other peers in the industry. Join Facts First as Dolly Parton just revealed her biggest celebrity crushes. Dolly Parton is a rare figure in entertainment who's been married to just one person throughout the majority of her life. That lucky guy is Carl Dean Thomas, whom Dolly met when she was just 18. After they met, the two were married 2 years later. Their relationship started when Dolly was just beginning her career, though Carl has preferred to keep out of the spotlight in the decades since Dolly attained superstardom. Some may wonder how their relationship has lasted so long. The two have a good deal in common, with a shared affinity for their country home. But they also keep an open mind towards each other's differences and needs. In Carl's case, this means that Dolly doesn't pester him too much about the fact that he likes to stay out of the spotlight. In Dolly's case, it means Carl doesn't make too much of a fuss if Dolly develops feelings while at work. Given Dolly's decades-long career in the industry, it stands to reason she has brushed shoulders with some pretty attractive and charismatic men. While many men in Carl's position would find themselves being constantly jealous of this constant competition, his cool head when it comes to these matters is arguably what has allowed him to keep Dolly as his wife for so many years. Dolly has openly talked about having many celebrity crushes over the years, with her most recent one being Jimmy Fallon. Dolly's always had great rapport with late-night talk show hosts, having previously had memorable on-screen chemistry with both David Letterman and Johnny Carson. And Jimmy Fallon seems to be Dolly's personal favorite amongst the modern lineup of talk show hosts. If Jimmy Fallon is Dolly Parton's most recent celebrity crush, Johnny Cash was her first. Dolly had a crush on Johnny before she even became famous. She apparently liked his incredibly thin figure at the time, not realizing that this figure was actually the result of the singer's malnutrition from substance abuse. When Dolly ended up working more with Johnny after becoming famous, the two would often share a laugh about how Dolly used to be in love with him. According to Dolly, it was her love for Johnny Cash that taught her what it meant to be a woman. The singer made her feel more hormonal than she ever had before, making him her very first crush. Dolly was only 13 years old the first time she met Johnny. It wasn't until her adult years that she finally came clean about how she felt about the singer during her teenage years. Dolly claimed Johnny showed her what sex appeal meant, something she later embodied. Although Dolly has had numerous crushes over the years, she always returns to husband Carl Dean in full force. According to Dolly, Carl will gather her a bouquet of daffodils every spring, accompanied by a personally written poem. Whatever feelings Dolly may develop while out on the road, it becomes clear her heart truly belongs to Carl when she returns home. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Around the same time Dolly Parton married husband Carl Thomas Dean, she also met another man who would become one of the big loves of her life. This man was Porter Wagoner, a popular singer in the country music scene who was also the host of The Porter Wagoner Show. During her early career, Porter noticed Dolly while she was diligently performing around the Nashville area. She had already found some modest success by that point, with her song Dumb Blonde having broken onto the country charts. In addition to being a performer during the early years of her career, Dolly also began making a name for herself as a songwriter, whose songs were often played by other musicians. One such song Dolly had written was performed by Norma Rae, who was better known as the female lead singer on The Porter Wagoner Show. While Porter was the show's main singer, it was Norma's job to back him up and sing duets, and she would sometimes get her own solo numbers. It was this connection that got Dolly in the same room as Porter Wagoner, and she immediately made a big impression on the singer. When Norma gave Porter notice she was going to quit the show to marry and start a family with her new husband, Porter knew just who to turn to when seeking out a replacement. He called Dolly into his offices with her guitar and asked her if she would like to be the new female lead singer on his show. Given that it was a chance to be seen by more eyes than ever before, Dolly gladly accepted the opportunity. The transition was slightly difficult, as Norma had been the female lead singer on the show for 7 years, and the audience wasn't completely open to a new voice. Dolly's voice was much higher and more childlike than Norma's, and the audience found the change jarring. During her first episode, the crowd infamously began heckling her during the first commercial break. This prompted Porter to praise and defend Dolly when the show came back on. Porter remained a big supporter of Dolly amidst the crowd's disapproval of her introduction. Not only did he keep Dolly on the show, but he actually gave her more time on screen than Norma. According to Porter, he felt that shoving Dolly down the throats of the audience would force them to get used to her and start enjoying her unique voice. And he turned out right. Although fans of the Porter Wagoner show didn't initially take too kindly to Dolly, they eventually warmed up to her. They especially liked when Porter and Dolly sang duets, but they also started appreciating Dolly as a solo performer. Soon, her career took off more than ever, and she eventually eclipsed Porter in popularity. The true nature of Dolly and Porter's relationship remains slightly ambiguous, though Porter would often refer to Dolly as the love of his life up until his 2007 death. Dolly likewise always expressed a great deal of love and admiration for the man who helped her become famous. Although Dolly was married at the time they were working together, Porter was known to strike up relationships with as many of his female contemporaries as he could. Regardless of whether the two ever consummated their love for one another, Porter eventually became one of Dolly's biggest crushes in the entertainment industry thanks to his mentorship. But things eventually soured in their relationship. When Dolly started becoming a good deal more successful than Porter, he started becoming jealous. He convinced himself Dolly owed him for making her a star, and this caused Dolly to start slowly withdrawing from him. Dolly was only signed on to the Porter Wagoner show for 5 years, but ended up staying on longer due to her amicable relationship with the show's star. But she quit the show when they stopped getting along. Porter became enraged and tried to sue Dolly. Her last performance on the Porter Wagoner show was in 1974, and the two seemed to be getting along for a period of time after she left. They even recorded an album together in 1975. But in 1978, Porter rekindled his jealousy and decided to sue her the next year. He sued her for $3 million, alleging that she owed him for all he had done for her career. According to him, the success she had garnered from appearing on his show entitled him to a part of the earnings she had made since quitting the program. Dolly, of course, said this was ridiculous, though she still ended up settling out of court for $1 million. Porter later apologized to Dolly, claiming that suing her was the dumbest thing he'd ever done. All he wanted was her love. Now it's time to hear from you. Comment down below to share if you were surprised to learn that Dolly finds Jimmy Fallon attractive. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts Verse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.